So I want to welcome everybody to tonight's program, Simple Steps to Strategies to Prevent Falls. Tonight's presenter is Chandra Jadhwani. She is a library patron, but she also has a Master of Science degree in Physical Therapy from Northwestern University. She's a member of the American Physical Therapy Association, and she also works with patients with Parkinson's disease and as cancer exercise therapy as well. So with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Chandra, who can get the program started.
Hey, good evening. Thank you, Susan, for having me. Good evening, everyone. Want to start off, thank you for attending the program. This is the Fall Prevention Week, and the Governor Pritzker of Illinois has proclaimed this week from September 20th to 24th as the Fall Awareness Week. Just want to highlight what he means by that is for everyone to become familiar with the risk factors for falls amongst older adults and implementing the fall reduction strategies. So hopefully at the end of the session, we will have increased everyone's awareness for fall prevention. Okay, so we'll start with the next slide. The objectives of this program, we'll have a brief introduction on how the body maintains balance. We will talk about the conditions, the medications, and situations that can create instability. We will talk about some tips for fall-proofing your house, increasing your stability and confidence. And next slide. Review a fall recovery video. This is very important where we train patients to fall and how to recover from the fall. We will talk about things to prevent, how to safe-proof your house. We will share resources on falls and balance. And at the end, there's an sample exercise video to get everybody started. Next. Okay, so some facts and stats. Falls are responsible for 4 out of 5 accident-related hospital admissions for people over 65. More than 90% of all hip fractures occur because of falls. As we get older, falls can have greater consequences. So the simple fear of falling causes many people to curtail their activities. And those are the activities that strengthen the muscles and reflexes that are essential for good balance. Next slide. Okay, so this slide is kind of not very clear, but I have it down as the next slide that explains how we go into this downward spiral. Okay, so one thing, it's like a domino effect. One thing leads to the other, to the other, to the other. Next one. So here is the next slide. Next. Okay. So as we age, there's a decline in our muscular strength and postural sway. That leads to, next, balance problems and fear of falling. That leads to decreased physical activity. That leads to more falls and injuries. So the more we fall and the more we injure ourselves, there's a further decrease in the strength, coordination, and balance. So there are there are more falls and injuries because of that. That leads us to have dependence on others, which leads us to social isolation and eventually depression. So, next slide. So here are some stats from the Center for Disease Control, which tells us how the number of deaths have increased from 2007 to 2016. And then further, it tells us that if we continue at this rate, we could have 7 fall deaths per hour by the year 2030. Next. So let's talk about what impacts our balance, okay? In the center of the slide, we have system. We have and then it's the cerebellum and the extrapyramidal system. All of these components feed into the data storage system where things are integrated and the output goes to the right side of the slide. Next. Okay, so what happens to this fine-tuned balanced system? We have decreased activity level, and that leads to decreased strength and flexibility, which takes us into, there's also arthritis as we get older. There are visual changes due to diabetes or many other components, hypertension. Their medications are also very critical to our balance system because there are many medications that impact this balance. Okay, neuropathies like diabetic neuropathy, alcoholic neuropathy, the chemo-induced neuropathy, they also impact our proprioception and our balance. Next. Sarcopenia is another thing that happens with aging. And we'll talk a little bit about sarcopenia in a few minutes. Then there is fear, the big 4-lettered word, okay? So once you have had a fall, you're so fearful that we clamp down. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So here's the difference between a child and an older adult. When a child learns to walk and falls down 50 times, he never thinks to himself, maybe this is not for me. But as we get older, we have a fall, we get more fearful, and we're like, okay, I don't think I want to be as active as I was before. This is not for me. Next slide. Next. Okay, so we'll talk about proprioception a little bit. Proprioception, basically, if you look at a juggler, okay, we have so many things to juggle at the same time. And proprioception is basically the sense of where your body is in space and whether you need to lean forwards, you need to lean backwards. How do you maintain your equilibrium? So that's where proprioception comes into play. Sarcopenia, which is the next slide, this is a part of aging, okay? It's age-related muscle loss. It's a natural part of getting older. The consequences are weakness, poor balance, even frailty. Okay, so that's the doom and gloom. But the good part is, while we quickly lose balance because of the physiological atrophy, we can also get it back. So this is the important part. Just because things happen that we don't have control over, we do have control over what we can do about it. So next slide. Okay, like we talked earlier, you're vulnerable if you have fallen in the past year. True, fear adds to it. So next. Okay, so what happens in the older adults? The falls usually happen in complex environments. By complex, I mean if you are dual tasking. It's like you're walking, but now you're walking and carrying a laundry basket. You are reacting. You see something fall and you react and try to rush to get it. Or your next one is rushing. If you're rushing to answer the doorbell. And perturbations. Perturbations are like if you're walking in a mall and there's a big sale going on and people are running past you and they try to push against you, and that's what's called a perturbation. Next. So where do most of the falls occur? According to the CDC data, 50 to 60% of the falls happen in the house. Okay, what part of the house? Anyone want to take a guess? Kitchen. And the next place is the bathroom. Okay, these are the two. Actually, bathroom is more falls happen in the bathroom than in the kitchen, but they are both culprits. Okay, what happens here? We're navigating turns, they are narrow spaces, there might be wet floor, we might have loose throw rugs. Sometimes we have to take the stairs to get to the bathroom. So these are some of the common things that throw us off the balance. And therefore, most of the falls occur in the house in those two places. Okay, 80% of the bathroom-related injuries were either caused by a slip, trip, and a fall. Okay, next. Most of the shower or tub and often lead to fractures, lacerations, contusions, and scrapes. Next. People over 85 suffer more than half of their injuries near the toilet. So very important to know those things. And we will discuss a little bit later about how to make things safer. Okay. Other common hazards in the house, there might be some obstacles in the way. There might be a object. You might have a wet floor, a loose rug, rushing up and down the stairs and there is no railing, or your foot gets entangled in the cord, or we're using a stepladder. Any of those things can be hazardous. At night, when we get up at night to go to the bathroom, all of a sudden we're going from a horizontal position to a vertical position. So there's change in the hemodynamics. There's poor lighting. As we get up, our eyes need to adjust to the darkness. And there's urgency to reach the bathroom. So there we go, we are rushing. Okay, next. Okay. This is a new slide that came up this week from the National Council of Aging. Really good setup where they say 5 quick and easy modifications to make your home safer. The first one is to have a seat in the shower. Okay, slippery surface. The second one talks about lighting. Very important to have good lighting. whenever you're navigating around the house. The third thing they talk about is to have a chair while you're getting dressed. So have a sturdy chair, you're sitting while you get dressed. The next one they talk about is clear your way. So when you're going up and down the stairs, so make sure there are no objects, remove any clutter and rugs from the floor. And last but not the least, they say, like in the kitchen, that's what they show number 5. Frequently used items are between shoulder level and the waist level. The items that you don't use shoulder level, the items that you don't use as often and are heavy should be below the knee level. Okay. So I added this slide. Those were 5 easy modifications. Now, this is not a very easy modification, but if you're looking into a remodel, this is a standard toilet, which is about 15 inches off the floor. There are also raised toilets, which could go, depending on the manufacturer, it can go from 18 to 20 inches off the floor. So if you are ready for a remodel, it's better to get a raised toilet. Just makes getting up from sit to stand easier. Okay, next. Okay. Other activities that impact our stability is when we are going from one position to the other. So we call those transitional activities, okay? So if you're going from a sitting position to a standing position, okay, that's one time. When you're getting in and out of the car, again, that's another transition. Next, navigating the stairs. And lastly, the ramps and curbs, okay? So transitional activities, okay. Polypharmacy is a big one, and we will get to this a little bit later again, but if polypharmacy counts as somebody taking more than 4 to 5 medications at one time. Okay, next. Okay, there are some medications that are in particular linked to falls. This is a fact sheet from CDC. Okay, I just want to caution about one thing in this green box. It says stop medications when possible. This is information for medical personnel. I don't think we should just stop medications on our own. You need to discuss it with your referring physician, the prescribing physician as to the issues you're having, and they can adjust accordingly, okay? Some medications are what we call fall risk increasing drugs. That's FRID. And these are examples of some of the FRID medications, okay? There's another factor that happens with medications too is it may not be a fall risk increasing medication, a drug. However, if it collides with something else you're taking. And the best way to explain this is medications are like people. Some people get along fine, some people collide. So medications do the same thing. So before you just stop taking medication on your own, please consult with your physician. Next. Next slide. Okay, so this is where we're going to pause for a minute. We're going to stand up so we're not sitting for too long. Just march in place, get yourself a little active, because this is the meat of the matter. This is where it tells you that you can do this. You have a lot of power to all the doom and gloom that we talked about. We can make a lot of changes on our own, okay? So the next slide. Next slide. Okay, So we talked about the medications, the polypharmacy. Please review all your medications with your referring physician and the prescribing physician, okay? Let them know about the dosage of your medications, the number of times you take that medication, how, do you take it with meals? And has there been a recent change to your medications? So all that must be discussed. An annual checkup of eyes and ears. Like we talked about the vestibular system and the visual oculomotor system, these impact our balance. In the balance team slide we saw earlier on. So annual check of the eyes and ears is strongly recommended. Next. How eyes impact our balance, okay? Next. Okay, so when there's a difference between light and glare, our eyes take a little while to adjust to this. So when you have cataracts, there's an issue with depth perception. So we may misjudge, our eyes will misjudge the steepness of the stairs, curbs, or ramps. Because the eyes work something like a level. We have to look at the horizontal and the vertical lines, like you're going through a doorway. Okay. We use this information to keep our body in balance, keep us erect. So a few points about bathroom safety, since that could be a dangerous place in the house. So anchor grab bars into wall studs. So this is really key. It's one thing to get grab bars, but they should be secured into wall studs. Okay, it's good to have the grab bars inside and out, inside the shower and bathtub, as well as near the toilet. Okay. Non-slip matting in your bathroom, I can't emphasize enough. Good idea to have a walk-in tub or a walk-in shower with a low threshold that makes it easy to navigate. And we talked about the toilet. The senior toilet can be 18 to 20 inches. Sliding glass doors, man, they can be dangerous, okay? If you're losing your balance because of the wet floor or stuff, just make sure they're not designed to support a person's weight. The doors can very easily come off the tracks. So we should use the grab bars to grab onto and not the sliding glass doors. Next. Okay. So what happens at nighttime? We talked about the eyes taking time to adjust. We talked about the hemodynamics. You go from a horizontal position to a vertical position. So your body takes a few minutes to get the hemodynamics. So when you have to rush to the bathroom, you can use motion sensor night lights. That's a very easy solution to install motion sensor night lights. So the night light is not on all the time, but as it senses your motion, it will light up your path. Or if you're in a place like a motel, a hotel or something, or visiting somebody, you can always use the flashlight in the cell phone to guide your way to the bathroom. Okay. Very easy solution, footwear, right? None of those are very supportive, and your feet can slip off of flip-flops. These sandals are not, these straps are not very secure. So footwear is very important, especially as we get older. Okay, next. Hydration. Okay, disclosure, I have no stocks with Aquafina. That's just a slide of a water bottle. So what happens to us? The amount of water we need doesn't increase as we age, but our body's ability to conserve water, it's reduced. So our sense of thirst is weakened. So it's important to drink even if we are not thirsty. Because when we are severely dehydrated, our blood pressure can drop and the brain may not get enough oxygen. So there we feel dizzy. There's another reason to lose your balance. Navigating turns is a very easy solution. Again, if you turn or swivel too fast, this happens again in kitchens or in bathrooms a lot, because in the kitchen, a lot of us have L-shaped counters. So we are working on one surface and then the other surface is at 90 degrees. So we need to make turns. Now, when you turn, it's very important that the feet lead the body. So instead of turning with the body, we got to pick up the feet, turn with the feet, and then turn the body with it. Okay. So for people that are into ballroom dancing, you know that it's the foxtrot basic step. Okay, next. Okay, speed and agility. Again, very important. This is what we talked about, the perturbation, like if you're walking in a big box store or if you're walking at an event like a music fest or a ball game, people will be coming on your right, on your left, people will be walking faster or slower than you. They can bump you right and left. So what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to react quickly so we don't tumble. Okay, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later again. Improve your reaction time with speed and agility training workout. Okay, so what happens is we need to be able to react. So react means with speed, okay? We need to be able to change the direction and do it fast and do it while maintaining our center of gravity. Okay. Another important factor is in this day and age, we all sit a lot. So this is from ARP, the American Association of Retired People. Sitting is the new smoking. So if you go back to the 60s and 70s, when people used to smoke a lot, it was very fashionable to smoke. That has greatly reduced, but with modern technology and all the conveniences, we all end up sitting a lot. So sitting has its own problems. So when we sit, recommendations here are make sure you sit in a nice high back chair, that your feet touch the floor, your feet are grounded, you stand up every 30 to 45 minutes. This is commercial breaks while you're watching TV. It's good to stand up and stretch. Okay. If you're working on your desktop or laptop or any screen devices, you can add what's called a Posture Minder app. This is a free Google app. And when you install the Posture Minder, you can install it to remind you every 30 minutes or every 40 minutes. So what happens when you install this, when you're working on your screen, a little pop-up will appear on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen that'll give you a 3-word message to get up and move. And it works really well. Okay, next. So this is another hint, while you're talking on the phone, you can always stand, instead of sitting and talking, just walk while you're talking on the phone. Okay. Now, the other thing we can do, the art of falling safely. This is put together by ARP and also by an artist by a person who trains theater and film actors how to fall. So there's an art to falling. because the actors will do a show 8 times in a week and they are falling. They don't get hurt because they practice the proper way to fall. So the next slide will show you a couple rules of falling. Okay, stay bent. That means if you get yourself really rigid, you're going to end up hurting yourself more. Protect your head. We don't want a head injury. Land on the meat. Okay. And lastly, very important thing, keep falling in the sense, keep like you're tumbling, keep rolling. I know this picture looks like you're landing on your head, but what they mean by is, look at the arrow. It's like keep spiraling. So you're dissipating the load. It's not crashing you at one spot. Okay. I would strongly recommend everybody practice this at home. Okay. Now, okay. So this is what happens if you have already fallen. Okay. This is a little video. It looks like it's a British video. So there's enjoy the British accent, and the closed captions may be a little bit off because I think it doesn't understand the British accent. So here we go. See, play the video.
Chandra, can you hear me?
Yeah, there.
Okay, so I have to share my sound, so I'm gonna try to do that.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Mhm.
Hopefully this will work. Let's just see. Can you hear it?
It's soft.
Sorry.
So that's a YouTube video, and
I'm trying to figure this out. I forgot how to do it. I'm sorry.
that's okay. So basically what it'll show you is when the person falls, how to roll over and come on your hands and knees. Once you come on your hands and knees, so you're on all fours, then you're going to go from fours to a kneeling position.
So I'll go ahead and play it and we can watch.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
There we go.
Are you in pain? Can you move your arms?
A little louder.
Don't move.
And maybe we can play the closed caption.
Well, under. Try to get yourself up. Move onto your hands and knees. Crawl to somewhere where you can pull yourself up. Like a sturdy chair or bed.
There we go.
Put your hands on the chair or bed and bring one leg up.
So it goes from all fours to kneeling, kneeling to half kneeling. And then you slowly turn around and sit. So sit for a few minutes and recuperate before you stand up. Okay. And the key point here is always let your doctor know that you had a fall so they can check into and see what else is going on. Okay. Okay. I like this quote. In order to keep your balance, you must keep moving. I can't emphasize this enough. Got to keep moving. Okay. Because people who move more feel better. And you'll see this study tells us who does exercise benefit. It was a pretty detailed study. Bottom line, pretty much everybody is benefited by moving, okay? And it gives us a little blurb on the main conditions in the next slide, okay? Any condition, depression, anxiety, exercise increases your endorphins and enkephalins. So those are your happy hormones that your body produces. It's good for diabetes, hypertension, any of the common ailments, osteoporosis, COPD, coronary heart disease, cancer. Okay, so what do we do with exercise? Okay, how much exercise do I need to do? Okay, we need, and this is from American Society of Sports Medicine, American Heart Association, and American Cancer Society. All of them are in agreement with what you see on this slide, that we all need 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity and 2 days a week of muscle strengthening activity. So your 150 minutes can come in 50 minutes, 3 times, you can do 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Okay, strengthening, very important too, 2 days a week at least. Okay, now what is moderate activity? I think the last part of the slide tells the whole story. You should be able to talk but not sing. So if you're walking briskly, okay, you're able to carry on a conversation, but you're walking briskly, you're not able to sing. That's moderate intensity. There are other ways people measure it too, but okay. This slide, the reason I put it in there is just one, and medicine is healthcare. Food is healthcare, okay? So what's important with food, we're going to talk about in the next slide. You want to cut out on your sugars and processed foods. And it's a whole teamwork where you get some sunshine, you exercise, you eat right, so you cut down on your sugars and processed food. You increase your anti-inflammatory foods like ginger and turmeric and fresh. You increase your hydration. You work on relaxation and get enough sleep. All these components boost our immune system. And if our immune system is boosted, we are more steady, we will have less falls. Okay, here, this is another video that kind of summarizes everything. It's a very short clip, and we'll play that. Yeah, the volume. Susan, we can't hear.
Just a sec, I'm trying to get it. Sorry. Can't figure out.
So basically what it does is in about like 60, 70 seconds, it summarizes what we talked about, how to keep your house safe, how to talk to your doctor, get your eyes and ears checked, and keep exercising, eat healthy. I like this clip. This is, I believe, from the Center for Disease Control. It's like a minute and change for the clip.
How about if I include this clip with, I apologize, I don't know how to get the sound. I'm trying to
We
find
can
it.
move on to the next.
Yeah, I will include this clip in our, what I send out tomorrow. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We can move on to the next one.
Just a moment.
Yeah. So it talks about your eyes, ears, your medication, your yearly checkup, your safe proofing your house.
I'm trying to get to this. Oh my goodness. Okay. Here we go.
Oops. Okay, so these are very important resources. It's a lot of the information is from CDC, from the National Council of Aging, the National Institute of Health, the American Association of Retired People. The Silver Sneaker Program is a very important program. This is available free of charge to most of the Medicare population, especially if you are on a Medicare Advantage plan. So when Silver Sneakers is one of your benefits, you have, you can go to many health clubs free of charge for us to keep moving and prevent falls. Okay, some of my favorite apps, the cell phone apps are the interval timer. So interval timer is, again, you have control on how you set up your intervals. You can start with, say, you're walking. You can walk at your normal pace for a minute, and you can walk at a really fast pace for another minute or 30 seconds. So your interval can be 1 minute, or 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute for your regular speed, 30 seconds for your fast speed, and it'll keep repeating itself. Okay, this is a better way to train yourself rather than go at cruise control. The other app I like is the metronome. So if a metronome is like you set up a beat. People that are into music are very familiar with metronome because you keep the beat with the beat of the metronome. So again, you're in charge. You can control the speed of the metronome. So what you can do, say your common, very easy example, if you're marching in place during a commercial, you can march at 40 steps a minute beat for 30 seconds, and then you can switch to 60 steps a minute for the next 30 seconds. So again, it's a little bit like an interval timer, but you have to keep pace with the beat. So I think it's a little step above. The other favorite app I like to use is, like I talked about, the posture minder. So nowadays, a lot of us work from home, use a lot of time, so that posture minder is a common thing we share with most of our patients. Is we tell them the mantra of 20-20-20, which means every 20 seconds, every 20 minutes, you look away from your screen. You're going to look at a spot 20 feet away from you for 20 seconds. Okay, so every 20 minutes, if your posture minder is set up for 20 minutes, that's what you do. So another of my favorite quotes, we want to make it happen. We don't want to wish for it to happen we want it to happen, but we want to make it happen is more important. Okay. So this, Susan, we don't have to play this. We can share this with you. This is like a 5 to 6 minute video. there are two of them. The exercise in both the videos are exactly the same. However, the first one has a voiceover. So as you're doing the exercises, it's walking you through the exercise, which you may need for the first few times that you use this app, watch this video and work with it as a workout. But once you get the hang of what the instructions are, I would recommend using the second video, which has no voiceover, but it has a music background. So you can do your exercise to music. Okay, so both of them, like I said, the exercises are exactly the same. The first one kind of holds your hand a little bit, but I don't think everybody needs hand holding forever. Once you get the hang of it, enjoy the music and keep pace with it. Okay, so those are two videos that, Susan, we can forward to them, right? Okay, so
Yeah, I will forward them.
okay. So this is just general instructions. Another thing I want to talk about the video is you will see that both of us are doing a different setup in the exercise. Like I may be moving my arms at a lower level, whereas he's moving his arms at a higher level. So the gist of the whole thing is do it at the highest level possible. If you can't take your arms overhead, it's okay. Keep your arms at shoulder level or below shoulder level, but please keep moving. Okay. So that brings us to the end. I see there's a question in the chat box. My husband is unsteady when he gets out of any chair. Any suggestions? Also, my husband's doctor wants him to use a walker. He's not ready to use a walker yet. He uses a cane. Do you have any ideas? You can try my husband. Okay. Question. Okay, the first part is an easy answer. Does he sit in a chair with arms or no arms? Would be if he's unsteady getting out of the chair, you can make sure he sits in a chair that has arms, and then he can push on the arms of the chair to stand up. Okay. Also, an important question, has he been in physical therapy? The second part of your answer can really be answered in person with a physical therapist. There are little tricks to using a walker. There are also little tricks to using a cane that the physical therapist can show you which hand to use the cane, what is the sequence to follow, how high should the walker or the cane be. Those are all very important things. I would strongly recommend in not just picking up an assistive device and start using it. Please see a therapist to get some instructions on the proper way to use an assistive device. Any other questions?
I have a question, actually. One of the things you mentioned was that fear of falling can actually contribute to falling. And what is the best way to get past this fear of falling?
The best way to get past it is, number one, first of all, talk to your doctor that you had a fall. And most of the time when you do that, they will recommend you go for some balance training. Okay. And there you will have a love-hate relationship with your therapist, because they'll make you do stuff that you're not comfortable with and take you off your comfort level. However, that will increase your confidence. So you will see that, hey, I could go step over step in the therapy steps. So why am I doing one step at a time at home? Okay. My muscles are stronger now. I can stay on one leg a little bit longer than I could before. All my scores went up when I was in therapy. And that's one way. And your house, then that's what we don't want people to do. When you're so fearful, you stop going out to see your grandchildren's ball games, or you stop going to the opera. And my suggestions to the patients is, yes, you have a subscription, you must go to the opera. Here are a few changes you can do. Okay, you go for a matinee show when it's less crowded. You get there ahead of time. You call the box office and tell them, hey, I'm using a walker. Can I get an aisle seat? And they will make sure that you don't have to navigate stairs, or if you have to, be a little bit of stairs. So if you call the box offices are very accommodating. Another big suggestion I have is get there early and make sure you leave late. Let everybody else, let the mad crowd leave, so you don't have any perturbations. But do not stay home and sulk at home. You love the opera, you must go. You can go if you make a few changes, and they're not very difficult changes. Enjoy life. So hopefully,
Are there any other questions, Chandra? Well, thank you so much. This has been a very informative, well put together program. I hope that all of our participants were able to get some useful information that they can use with themselves or with their loved ones, depending on their motivation for being here tonight.
yes, just stay active, everybody. Keep moving.
And I will send out copies of the slides as well as a link to the videos that I unfortunately could not get my technology to coordinate with. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And yeah, the exercise videos are, a sample. You don't have to follow them. If you like to do Tai Chi is a good way to keep up your balance. If you like ballroom dancing, that's fun. That's also very good for your balance. You navigate a lot of turns, and you change positions, and you lead and you follow. Do what you enjoy. If you like the water, you can do water exercises. There are many ways. Just keep active.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.